Hello and welcome to the Kimbley IT podcast with myself, James Kimbley, and Carl Heath, in sort of a rushed episode that we had planned for later today, but because of all the changes that are taking place and the lockdowns, we've had to reschedule it twice.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you just said let's do it now, but that's good. I'm ready to go. I'm fine.
Earliest we've done it at almost 9 a.m.
Yeah, 9:15, isn't it? Early doors for us on the podcast, this one.
So let's kick into it. We'll go for our recap first.
Yes.
So I'm going to start at the bottom, actually, in the rundown of the recap. Okay. So I've actually been running a little experiment for the last few weeks. I've turned off my ad blocker.
Oh yeah, right.
On
okay.
Chrome.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see what the internet was like with ads after having the ad blocker for many years on there. I use uBlock Origin, which is the best one by a long way. Yeah. But I turned it off, and the internet has changed since the last time I ran without an ad blocker. And the ads, from what I can see, ads don't interfere as much as they used to. They seem to be a lot more controlled.
I don't, because when I joined and started with you, I wasn't really sure what it was you were protecting us against, because I don't know. So what did it used to be like then?
Well, it's called drive-by downloads. So it's where ad networks get, bad actors, bad people get into ad networks, and they inject malware into advertisements that will force a pop-up or force a message to download. But remember, you used to always get those bad adverts as well, where it said, we've detected 272 problems with your computer. Click here to download now, and those kind of things. And you don't want end users clicking on those. Hence the reason we use, because for an end user who doesn't know much about IT, that could look like a genuine pop-up message, and then they start downloading stuff. So I've always used ad blockers, but I decided to have a little experiment just to see how much the internet has cleaned up, and it's a lot better than before.
Good. Yeah, I know the ones you're talking about now, James. I remember those. Particularly, I used to have people that end up installing who knows what so-called anti-malware software from one of those ads, and actually it's filling their machine with rubbish. So yeah, I remember.
Yep. So yeah, it's quite interesting what the internet's like.
Are you going to put it back on?
Not for the time being. I'm not going to put it back on until I get a bad advert that tries to do something, and then I'll know, okay, there's still weaknesses out there. Yeah. But at the moment, it seems to be a lot cleaned up place. So, topic of the day is going to be probably coronavirus, I reckon.
There's not much else, is there, really, at the moment, to be honest. To be fair, let's not talk about the coronavirus.
Well, that's the end of the show then, because literally everything is coronavirus related. So all our clients have now transitioned to home working, except for a few that technically they can't do it because one's is repairing cars, so you can't do that from home very easily. The other one's a care home provider, so they've got to have staff in the care homes, but they're on full lockdown. Yeah. But apart from that, everyone else who can, because we're mainly service, most of our clients are in the service industries, so they're all working from home now.
Yeah, it's gone really well, hasn't it? They literally picked up their laptops, generally monitors, went home. We had a few cases of where couldn't get the sound to work because they pressed the button on the laptop to disable it. It didn't have a HDMI cable, but apart from that,
it's mainly webcams. People, when they were going onto video chat for the first time, when you have to allow to give permissions to your mic and camera, they were just skipping that and just hitting OK, but not hitting allow, and then their webcam or their microphone wouldn't work, and we just had to give them some advice on how to turn that back on. Yeah,
it wasn't really a fat lot of support to be done there. It's good.
Yeah, some of it was down to the fact that some laptops have a hardboard, a keyboard switch for the webcam and things like that. So even if they have hit allow, the webcam still doesn't fire up because the keyboard switch is in the off position. But because everyone's working from home and to do our bit for our clients, we extended our support to cover every single personal device that users want to use to do their work on. Because we've got the vast majority of users have laptops, but there are ones that have desktop computers. So when they go back home, they will need to be using their own device because they're not going to be taking their laptop back, their desktop computer back. So we've extended support to all those personal devices. So whatever device they want to be on, they're supported no matter what.
Yep, that's good. I think it went down very well with everybody.
Yeah,
we're very appreciative of that, and it hasn't been any strain, of course, to do that because it all works very nicely.
That's because everything's been built around the browser.
Yeah.
As long as the browser runs, everything else is going to work fine for you.
And I'm throwing in right now that I have, and I'm not superstitious. I'm not going to do anything. Google has really stood up to the test. Google has really stood up to the test of this sudden increase in massive home working and remote working. Other providers have struggled. Microsoft have had a few blips, but have generally seemed to have got back on their game, as you'd expect them to. Players like Zoom, that popular meeting app that you don't want to be using for some reason if you've got G Suite already, they didn't do very well at the start. They really struggled.
Yeah, I've noticed about Zoom. Zoom's a bit like Apple computers, in that anyone who doesn't really know much about technology recommends them.
They've definitely got a brand position, haven't they? They've definitely done it on branding. It's not.
Oh, yeah. Zoom's. What I was reading earlier, Zoom's more valuable than many tech companies now.
Yeah, but it is.
But it's just boom and bust for them, really, because they'll boom during this period, but I doubt they'll hold on to people afterwards, because the vast majority of the reason they've got traffic at the moment for Zoom is just because many businesses and many IT providers weren't prepared and didn't offer the right tools, so everyone just jumped on the Zoom bandwagon because that's what everyone was talking about.
Yeah, I think you're right. What do I do? I don't have remote. Oh, use Zoom. Okay, and they do. Yeah. Then they'll go back, and then the IT. Some people go, right, we're going to implement this now. We're all going to use that tool now.
Yeah, because it makes sense if you're G Suite or 365.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Why use Zoom when you've got video conferencing that's much better built into both those products?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I saw somebody being interviewed today about coronavirus from a hospital, and they were on Teams because the background was that blurred out style that Teams does, where it sort of cuts around the person. And the rest, I'm like, that's a Teams thing, I think.
I think Zoom does it as well, though. I think Zoom does that as well, yeah.
Oh, okay, because obviously Meet and Hangouts doesn't do that at present. Yeah. But yeah, it was interesting to see how they'd use that blur out tool.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we've been doing for the last 2 weeks, is helping everybody with the transition to working from home.
And Google's done its bit by activating Enterprise Hangouts Meet to every end user. So we specialize, our companies generally are using G Suite Business, which is the middle package. So you've got G Suite Basic, G Suite Business, and G Suite Enterprise. G Suite Business allows Hangout Meets up to 150 people, which is more than enough for pretty much everybody. But Google's allowed anyone on the lower packages now to use Hangouts Meet from the Enterprise package, which ups it to 250 people. Participants can be in one video call. I don't know how you'd manage that.
It's impossible.
And you can stream internally up to 100,000 people.
Yeah.
But the key thing is it's got the recording on the Enterprise version, so you can record videos, which allows you to be inside the call rather than taking notes and not concentrating, and then you can watch the playback later. So that's the key. That's the tool that everyone's going to be using, the recording of the meetings, and that's the part of it that we've been pushing out to people. Don't take your notes, just record the meetings and then watch it back. And if someone's off or not available, they can watch the playback at a later date as well.
Yeah.
Rather than relying on your hastily taken notes.
And I'm seeing on LinkedIn, and I'm seeing from our customers too, lots of people having morning briefs where they have 6, 7 people in a meeting, but they're doing it. Yep. They're starting to get the idea that you can hold a company meeting without actually being in the same room.
Yeah, great. It's the end of the office.
It's going to have an impact on it for sure. It's got to, isn't it?
Should we go into the news?
Okay.
So in the news, what's our first one about? It's about coronavirus. Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
So this is basically what we just spoke about, lead to a permanent remote workforce. So this article is from VentureBeat.
Okay.
And it's talking about how coronavirus is going to lead to a permanent remote working force. So even this is after coronavirus has hit, the changes that it's making, the way that it's changing people's psychology, because a lot of people who thought, we need to have an office, we have to have an office, have now been pushed into remote working, and now they're realizing, actually, do I need an office? Office is costly, overhead, and we seem to be working fine, especially if you're in the service industry.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, John. I think there's a lot of people that are going to, particularly now, we've got the 3 weeks of pretty much not going out bar the necessaries. At the end of this 3 week, if it works, you are going to go, I don't know why I'm paying for that expensive office anymore now. Yeah, exactly. There'll be a little bit of doubt that people will have, well, when I need to meet a customer, where am I going to be? But there'll be this niggling thing that says, but you can save all this money and you can meet them at the coffee shop, you can meet them at the restaurant.
You can do a video call.
Of course you can. Of course, I'm literally thinking the people that say I've got to physically see this person, because people do come to my office, look at my glass partition. People like that stuff.
There's loads of things they got listed here. So, like you said, coffee shops. After coronavirus, coffee shops will naturally become more crowded now, with people using laptops. Who essentially people have a long commute to the office, but don't want to waste their time in the morning having to go in this commute to the office. They can now go elsewhere, stay at home, do video calls there, then travel in at a later time, like we've always spoken about for years.
Yep.
You can waste hours of your life in a commute.
Yep. We always had that rule, didn't we? That we're going to go see a customer. It's from 11 o'clock until 3.
Yeah, because we don't want to be in any traffic.
We don't want to be in that commuter traffic at all.
We've got more co-working spaces will pop up. This could actually be a saviour for WeWork, this coronavirus.
This one's really good, actually.
Because WeWork is doing, when you don't have an office and you do actually want to have some location somewhere, co-working is naturally the place to go now.
Mm.
So yeah, could well save WeWork there. It's also healthier for you. So I'm reading here, people will be healthier due to more sleep and eating lunch more often when they work from home, rather than popping around to Burger King or whatever fast food joint is next to the office. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, that was the same when I used to work in an office and I took my own lunch. You will eat healthier than the people that just get it on the fly, because on the fly this means rubbish. So yeah, definitely.
The problem with you, most people will eat their lunch at their desk and carry on working while at home. You typically don't do that.
No, you're right. I go downstairs.
Yeah, exactly.
I did like on the previous one, James. Yeah, you hadn't mentioned there's that link to converting local restaurants to co-working spaces. So daytime it's a co-work space, evening it's a restaurant. I think that's a brilliant idea. That.
Yeah. There's a startup. I think that's a US startup where they're basically renting restaurants, and during the day the restaurant will be an office, and then at the evening it converts back to a restaurant.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart way of doing it.
Because it is generally wasted space otherwise.
Yeah, because it's like a parked car on your drive, isn't it? It's dead most of the time in the day, doing nothing except and the chefs can do all the prep out back because they don't need to go out front of the house. I think it's great that.
Talking about restaurants, I think it's a shame McDonald's has closed all their outlets.
That must be painful for you.
But and other people. I think it's actually a public service they were offering.
McDonald's should be is a public service. Are you referring to McDonald's then in the same way that during the Second World War fish and chips were not rationed for morale?
I don't know, but not really, because I had no idea about that.
They weren't rationed for morale.
Oh, well, McDonald's. I think actually McDonald's, not the actual restaurant, closed the restaurant part, the inside part, but the drive-through. It's actually a pretty safe way to get your food.
I know what you're saying there.
If you need it, you're going to be in your car. You're isolated.
Yeah.
Now, there is a chance that there's going to be a worker inside the restaurant that's got it, but it's going to be a reduced chance. You're doing as much as you can to get food without being reduced. And last night, I was watching a BBC interview with some professor, and he says, actually, transmission of coronavirus via food seems to be very, very low, almost not happening.
Okay.
It can be on the packages of food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if you really wanted to be sure, you'd recook your food. So when you got home from McDonald's with your food, you stick it in the microwave and blast it for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I think actually it's a very safe way to get food. Drive-throughs.
I haven't had a McDonald's in a month now because I've been on a diet and I've been doing exercise because I want to lose some weight. So I haven't had one for a month. And I can tell you that there's something that comes out. I said this last night to somebody, when this is all over and I can go out for a meal, I tell you, it's going to be a really super pleasurable experience. You'll have forgotten how ace it is, because it'll be, you took it for granted. Like when you first can go back into McDonald's and have a McDonald's in a restaurant, it'll be really good because you'll have missed it for so long.
Well, hopefully, as long as I get my order right. I've not been good at that recently.
You struggle with that. I don't have you found a McDonald's that struggles to get its orders right.
I've found 2 McDonald's that struggle to get their orders right.
Oh dear. Maybe Kimbley IT can move later on into McDonald's ownerships, James. You can have your own one.
Yeah, get it right.
Exactly. Yeah, you can have your own McDonald's, and then you can make sure the standards are exactly how you want them.
Exactly. Just cheeseburgers.
Just cheeseburger. No gherkin, eh?
I don't mind the gherkin.
I like the gherkin too, but you said Rosie doesn't like the gherkin.
Yeah, that was a big problem because I got the order wrong. So I always order a plain cheeseburger in the Happy Meal, but they didn't do a plain one. They did one with a gherkin on it.
That's not even a cheeseburger. It's either plain or it's got sauce.
Yeah, Yeah, they've got two. They've got a cheeseburger that's just completely plain with the burger and cheese and the bun,
Yes.
and then the Happy Meal. They've then got the burger, the cheese, the sauce, and the gherkin
All right.
version, and that's the version they gave.
Okay.
And she spotted the gherkin when she was halfway through it,
Mm,
and that was almost pure disaster. The only reason it wasn't disaster is because I happened to buy a McFlurry, so I was able to use some blackmail.
okay. You leveraged it.
Yeah. But
I think
what was unusual was
that's bribery, James, and not blackmail. You can't blackmail. It's not like you're going to reveal pictures. It's not blackmail. What are you going to reveal about Rosie that she doesn't want you to know? It's not going to work. It's bribery. You're buying her off with something. You bought her off with a gift. That's not blackmail.
Okay. What if I eat the ice cream though? Isn't that blackmail?
No, blackmail is when you have got some information on me and then you use it against me to get what you want on the basis that if I don't do as you say, you will reveal that information to somebody else. That's blackmail. And
that's why you've stayed with Kimbley IT for such a long time.
Yeah. That's why I try and remove all possibilities for you to do that to me now. I don't think there's much left now for you.
You're not bloody good at it.
Well, hey, I am good at anti-blackmail avoidance, technically. So yeah, anyway, that's the difference. I think it's bribery, but good move on the McFlurry. That's going to work with them.
Yeah, that always works. But we actually went into the store to buy it as well.
Okay.
So they had this was last week. So we're the only people inside the store, and they had sellotape on, not sellotape, warning tape, black and yellow warning tape on the way you should stand to do separation. And this was about 3:30 p.m. Put our order through the machine on the touchscreen, which was the cleanest I've ever seen one.
Yes.
And I know why it was so clean now, because our order number came out as 000. We were basically the first people to order in that store at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon.
Wow. Yeah, and, those screens, of course, a real coronavirus problem.
Yeah, but McDonald's was spotless. I've never seen one so clean.
Yeah,
they're just cleaning all the time.
Can you imagine?
I still managed to get my order wrong. First order of the day, and they still managed to get it wrong.
That's probably a higher thing than anything, James. We're on high is that McDonald's cannot have press that says someone got coronavirus in McDonald's. They just can't have that happen.
Well, that's the reason why they closed it, because of that.
Yeah. You can't get in trouble if you're not open.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and 80% of their employees' wages are going to be paid by the government as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're just going to close and just ride it through.
Yep.
Ride the wave. Getting back onto that news article, so you probably noticed carbon emissions have massively fallen.
Yeah, definitely.
Pollution's just gone away completely.
Have you seen the canals in Venice are all gone clear again and stuff?
Oh, no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that was a good one. I saw it's all gone like crystal clear in parts of Venice. Like it's really tied it. It's really changed it. So fast as well.
Pardon?
I mean, so quickly that the environment has changed. Like in 4 weeks, parts of the world has dramatically changed so quickly by just the reduction in what we do.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at. Normally, I look out in the morning when I'm getting up. I look out the window, and you can normally see like airplane streaks in the air in the sky, but none at all.
Yeah. Very little flight going on.
Yeah. What's this other one? Companies will become more open to hiring remote workers. Yeah, that's true, because now you're getting used to remote working. It opens your workforce up to far more people around the world.
Yeah, that drops that whole, you need to be within 10 miles of Telford to work for my company. Now you can be you can be anywhere in the United Kingdom. Maybe I'm not international hiring, but I don't care if you're in Glasgow or Aberdeen, that's fine.
Again,
what a pool of employees you've got opportunities with now.
It's not down to the industry, but service industries is dead. It's opening so much opportunity for them.
And that's also, I think, James, great news for people who grow up in places like Devon and villages like that, in Devon, where they go, oh, there's no future, and the young people have to leave, and then the rich people come in and buy the houses. Well, this opens that opportunity for those young people to stay in their homes and stay where they grew up, because now they can say to the London company, yeah, I'll work from here.
And they'll be cheaper.
Pardon?
And their wages will be cheaper because you don't need to pay for their lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. So the London company goes, hang on a minute, we don't have to pay this person London waiting and all that kind of stuff that's there. We can pay them a wage that they're happy with. And they haven't got it's got serious benefits if companies adopt it and don't go back to their old way of thinking.
Yeah, and that's the final point in this article, that social collaboration tools will stop becoming the playground of just tech startups, and now will expand to the old guard, or how I call them, the old world companies.
Yeah. And your final one is, go on.
Go. Say what you can say.
Yeah, the final one is laptop ownership increasing massively. I've seen a dramatic increase in prices and availability of laptops as we're providing for clients at the moment, because classic supply and demand is high, and so prices have shot up.
And supply is very, very low now.
Yeah, there's no kind of cheap laptops anymore now. For something that's usable in business, you're £500 up, and you simply weren't. You were 150 quid less 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, because you did a quote for somebody and they didn't go for it straight away, and then the laptop price almost doubled, didn't it?
Yeah,
Doubled, but went up a significant amount.
Yep, they bought it yesterday and they just had to suck the price up. It went up £200.
And we also had another client who they needed a webcam, and you can't get those anymore.
Oh, are they completely out of it?
Yeah, apparently Logitech. You can get some Logitech webcams, but you have to buy direct from Logitech now.
Oh, okay.
No third-party resellers have got any in stock.
Right, interesting. Yeah. Everyone's had them.
Yeah. They would do. Next story is, what's this one about? Oh yeah, coronavirus as well. This is really good. So this is Google. Google is now integrating official NHS information directly into search.
Right.
So before coronavirus, if you ever did a Google search for any symptom, like you've stubbed your toe and it's got a bruise on it, you'd nearly always end up finding out you've got cancer, or you very much likely have cancer on a Google search for anything medical. Doesn't matter what it is, it would come back, you probably got cancer. And that was just because there's just people are addicted and they read things that are the worst possible outcomes.
You mean, standard SEO tampering rules applied.
Yeah. Clickbait, basically.
Yeah.
And Google should have done this years ago, but now they directly, when you do a search for any symptom, you'll now get a card at the top, which is from the NHS website, telling you about what you've got and what you most likely have, what the symptoms are, and all that kind of stuff. And that's rolled out now everywhere. And you should have done it a long, long time ago, because as many times I've looked up to see, I've got a cough, what's this, and all that kind of stuff, and you come back, you've probably got throat cancer. Well, everything was cancer beforehand, but this is finally a good thing that they've done. So they've done a deal with the NHS to be able to show their content directly on a Google search, rather than you having to click on these links and then find all this other nonsense, which is just scaremongering.
Yeah. And I also saw in the news today, James, that all of the major mobile phone providers in the UK have agreed that any searches and any data that you read from NHS is free, doesn't come off your data allowance. They've all agreed to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I saw something about that.
It's not really particularly very relevant anymore. I think most people are unlimited plans and all that kind of stuff. But however, there will be still some people who are less fortunate and don't have as much money, and that means that they can read that information and not be charged.
Yeah, I actually think most people won't have unlimited plans.
Don't you?
I think most people have big plans like 6 gigabytes and stuff like that, and 2 gigabytes per month and 4 gigabytes per month. But I don't think that many people are actually unlimited data plans.
I suppose not. I have on giffgaff, I have 4, and I go 3. Sometimes giffgaff goes, you don't need this. Like, I never get too close to it.
Well, I used to have unlimited when I was back on the 3 network. I was grandfathered into an old plan that they didn't do anymore.
Yeah.
But I was still paying like £30 a month or something, even though it was it's cheaper than what you get unlimited for at the time anyway on any other plan. But I moved to giffgaff now, and I think I'm on a 6 gigabyte plan.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
But that's like £10 a month or something.
Yep, I like giffgaff. Good mobile network.
So our final news story isn't actually Corona related, so something's gone wrong here.
Yes.
It's Windows XP related. One of the most popular and most fantastic operating systems of all time in its prime.
Yes, it was indeed.
But for some people, it still is in its prime, like the UK Ministry of Justice, which is being found out by the Register to be running something like, I think it's 2,000 Windows XP machines still.
Right.
The Register, it's a news article from the Register. So they've got... They're not. So the Register did a freedom of information and looked into basically the accounts of the Ministry of Justice.
Yeah.
And on the Ministry of Justice, as recently as March 29, it was paying hundreds of thousands of pounds for a VPN to support 2,000 Windows XP laptops. But what they couldn't find in these accounts was any money being paid to Microsoft for extended support.
Right.
So clearly these machines aren't being supported at all by
Yeah.
Microsoft, so they're open to everything. And the problem with it is that these machines run quite important parts of the legal system.
Yeah.
So they essentially, one of the main ones is, if I can just find the article.
This is the audio recording.
Yeah, so stenographers are people who used to who write, those little weird typewriters where you have like 3 or 4 buttons you can type in.
Stenographer that does the minutes, yeah.
Well, basically, they got rid of those guys a while back and used. I guess they got rid of them back many years ago and replaced it with computers.
Yeah.
But the computers they replaced it with, the software all runs on Windows XP. So the problem they have is they can't get these stenographers back because I guess they don't exist anymore, or they can't get the numbers they need to be able to replace these Windows XP machines with real people to do it again.
What is crazy is like, why can't someone just write the new software? I mean, I don't understand that.
No idea.
No, I have no idea either. Why that can't be done?
So Darts was first introduced in late 2000 to replace human stenographer, and the last stenography contract ended in March 2012. So they've been using Windows XP machines since then to do stenography.
Yeah.
So basically, on a very basic level, if Darts isn't functional at all, say it's down due to a denial of service hack or something else, then the courtroom can't sit unless they can find a manual stenographer to come in.
Yeah, okay. And they're not going to find them.
No. And there's another system that also runs on it, which is a thing called Exhibit.
Yeah.
Which shows the listings and data of which cases are being held in a court each day. Again, if that goes down, they can't hold the cases. They can't do anything.
Blimey.
They're really, really far behind, and they don't seem to have done anything to update at all. They claim they're updating their machines, but from this, it doesn't look like there's any evidence of that happening at all at the courthouses around the place.
No. Any way you can say about that? I mean, you just don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't believe that the Ministry of Justice doesn't get any funding or any money whatsoever to spend on stuff. So
they've already seen what happens as well with Windows XP, what happens to the NHS with WannaCry.
Yeah.
Took the NHS out.
Yeah.
Or just imagine what would happen now if the NHS was still using Windows XP during a coronavirus and it gets taken out.
James, don't even want to think about that kind of activity. That would just be not good.
Yeah, that'd be the end. I'd be drinking my final Coca-Cola.
That would not be good. Only issue with the register is you look at the comments, just turn them off. The register, it's just too much sarcasm.
The other interesting thing is because of coronavirus going back to UK courts and prisons, prisons are getting infected now, coronavirus.
Yeah, I know.
You don't have many places to stick prisoners. To be honest, I'd just leave them in there and die because it's their own fault for getting in there in the first place. So I wouldn't worry about them too much. But because of the world we live in, and some countries are releasing criminals early to get them out.
They really? Who's doing that?
I think it might be in France or even Italy. I did read it. But yeah, there are countries that are releasing prisoners earlier just because the prisons are infected. That's where you need a prison boat.
Prison boat, yes.
Well, that's what you should do, actually. Maybe commandeer a cruise liner.
Fill it with prisoners and send it out to sea.
Yeah, just put it out to sea for a while. I guess they're still getting infected anyway, so you might as well just leave them in the prison.
You might leave them in the prison.
Yep.
Yeah, who knows?
A bloody free cruise. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, who knows?
Leave them in the prison.
Yeah.
Let them die. Conversation time. So we're going to talk about advice and guidance for working from home. So I thought how we go about this is we start with you, because for me, I've been doing it for a decade.
Yeah.
So it's kind of natural for me, but for you, I know that you struggled at the start when you started with Kimbley IT, getting into the rhythm of working from home.
That's right, I did.
Not feeling guilty. So I thought it might be good that you list you tell everyone about how you found it, and then I can jump in if I've got things that I can advise and guide on based on the 10 years of experience that I've had from it.
Okay. The thing that struck me straight away when I did it was that I had lost the regime of go to work, arrive at work, have lunch, leave work. That structure of time is completely eradicated, and you have the freedom to do your work whenever you want to do it. That led me then to realize that no one was going to be, where's that work being done? It's not being done. There was no pressure necessarily on me, particularly when I started working with you. And that gave me guilt. I felt guilty that I wasn't working hard enough because I wasn't at the desk from 9 to 5 like I used to have to be. And it took some time for that to go. So if you get that guilt feeling about it, you're going to just live with it. Just accept it. It's a natural part of it that things are different now. And you need to think about the objective of whatever it is you're trying to do, the outcome, produce the outcome, serve the customer, do the project, make the design, update the blog, whatever it is. But don't worry about how and when you do it. That's certainly something that struck me. Another one, I used to have a stand-up desk like you do, James, at the office. So I was very used to standing up. And in the last 4 months, I brought a desk into my home now, into my bedroom. And so I thought, well, sitting down's not all that good because you can get backache on a rubbish chair. So, if you can get one, get a good chair. I have a kneeling chair. You have a more traditional chair, but a good chair is important. Like, don't sit on the sofa. Don't sit at the kitchen table because it'll bug you after a while, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Do your muscles in.
Yeah.
Get uncomfortable sitting in that position for many hours. It feels comfortable at the time, but when you get up, you then realize that was a mistake.
Yeah, that's one. I've got my branded hoodie on and things like that. There's an element, some people say, I'll get dressed for work. I mean, don't go over the top, but I would certainly say that if you find yourself just sticking your trackies on and an old t-shirt every day, that's probably not enough. You want to have some element of feeling that you've got to do something for the day rather than it's like a Saturday where I'll just do a few emails.
Yeah, I believe in that strongly. That's why I always wear Kimbley IT stuff when I'm up and out doing things. So I have my, as you know, I wear Kimbley IT branded stuff all the time. Whenever I'm out doing things. Pajamas at night time and then Kimbley IT stuff during the day. Kind of separates the two things.
You have pajamas?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just a box short man, me.
I like pajamas.
They're too hot.
Maybe you got your heating on too high. Turn your heating down.
I'm not passing judgment, James. I'm merely commenting. Okay, fine. Anyway, we'll skip past that. Yeah. They're not the IT pajamas, are they?
Actually, no, but I should get some branded ones.
I'd like to see that. I think that's good.
But yeah, so I agree. You should always dress in good clothes, not tracksuits and all that kind of rubbish. Dressing stuff like not a good pair of jeans.
Yeah, I mean, don't go overboard, but put something on. I've got up and I'm ready to go and do some work now.
And help you get past your guilt feeling as well. That's the thing that I hear from everybody who gets into it. And I told you it took many years for me to get past that.
Yeah, definitely.
You feel like you should be doing something. You'll sit around and you're not doing anything. And what you forget is the reason you're not doing anything is because you were more productive than you're in the office. So you've done the stuff you were planning to do a lot quicker. And therefore you get more time to do other things, but it also gives you more time to sit around and feel guilty because you got to remember when you're in the office, distractions all the time, people coming up to you, people talking, you overhearing other conversations, you're constantly being distracted. So your productivity is way lower than when you're at home. And that's the main reason you find you have so much spare time is because you just got on with things a lot quicker.
Yeah, totally. Because the open office is full of distractions, and that concept has failed for me pretty much because I used to work in one, and you can't help but listen to people. You can't help but hear what they're doing. That's what your brain does. Now you've got your own office, private at home generally. I mean, assuming you haven't got your kids running in and out. And yeah, it gives you the time to focus. And when you actually get down to it, you get some work done, and you get it done in like half the time it did. And then you're right. Oh, it's 11 o'clock and I've kind of done loads of stuff. And then you might feel guilty, but don't go outside, go in the garden at the moment and stuff. But normally you can go for a walk, have a cup of tea, treat yourself to some lunch, cook some food. Don't feel bad about it because you've got the opportunity.
And the difference is because you're working from home, you have the ability to work when you want to.
Yes.
So there's going to be some things in your calendar that you got scheduled in. But if you looked at our calendars don't really have anything that's scheduled in. We just stick stuff in as a need to. And it's more of a reminder to do things rather than a fixed date and fixed time or date to do it. Of course, like the podcast and meeting clients and video calls with clients and stuff like that, that's more fixed and discovery calls. But for everything else, it's quite flexible how we move it around. Because in the end, how I see it anyway, and it's probably how you see it as well. Now that I know you probably struggle with the start, but as long as it gets done, it gets done. As long as it gets done before it needed to be done, it's done. It doesn't matter. I don't care if I do it at 11 p.m. at night or 2 p.m. in the morning or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just getting it done. And it's just the flexibility. You can move stuff around and just do it the way it works for you. The best thing is some people work really well in the morning. Some people work really well at night. If you're going into an office, you don't have that opportunity.
No,
unless you want to do lots of overtime. When you're working from home, you can arrange your day the way you want it to get the most out of it.
Totally agree. And I don't have the guilt anymore. It's been a while now. I don't have that. Don't worry about it. I ebb and flow from my desk and downstairs, or sometimes I'll just pick up my Mac downstairs on the sofa for 20 minutes and then come back upstairs and stuff because I've got a couple of computers. Yeah, and it's good. I don't have any issue with that kind of stuff at all now. But it will take people some time, and you won't get through it, listeners, in this coronavirus period. You're going to be guilty feeling coronavirus time. It won't be enough. You need months to get through it.
Yeah. Months or years.
Yeah, it could be even longer. Yeah, it depends on how ingrained it is in your psyche.
How ingrained it is, and it's also how the culture of your business is as well. If you've basically got an owner of the business or directors who aren't that keen on home working, then it's going to take a lot longer for you to get past it because you're going to have the pressure of these people. That they don't really believe in it, and you should probably start looking for another company, to be honest, if you're working for people like that, because they're essentially saying they don't trust you.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So I don't have too much more to add on it from working from home. It's nice to have a bit of space, I guess, if you can shoehorn a space in your bedroom for your office or somewhere, that's out of the way. It gives you the opportunity to kind of say, I'm going to the office space now, particularly if you've got other family members around at the moment. That can be quite helpful to be able to have at least a bit of space that's yours.
And when you're setting up that home office, make sure you've got it in a room and you've got a background that you don't mind other people seeing.
Yes, that's true.
Because you don't want to keep moving. It depends. If you're on a laptop, it's not as much of a problem. But if you're on a desktop and working from home, I actually recommend you should get a desktop if you're going to be working from home permanently. So you've got a fixed position, a fixed place that you're working, and everything's set up the way you want it, rather than a laptop. You'll also have bigger screens, so you're not crouching over a laptop. Better keyboard, better mouse. So you just want to make sure that's in the right position, and you've got a webcam, a good quality webcam. Spend money on webcam and a microphone, especially if you're working from home, because your secret of working from home is being able to communicate well. So you should spend a bit of money on the webcam and the microphone and your headset. Don't use the built-in stuff because that's nowhere near as good. And just make it as well and as nice as possible. It's like I've got this new Logitech webcam, which is basically crystal clear, really, really high definition.
Yeah, it's better than my one. I need to get another one, but now's not the time for that.
Yeah, yours is yours built in, or you're using a separate one, aren't you?
Yeah, this is a desktop I'm on, so that's a separate one.
Yeah. So it's better. It'll be better quality anyway than when you're using your MacBook. MacBooks have some of the worst webcams you can get. They're just shockingly bad. Even on the latest ones, they're like 720p, and it's just horrible.
Yeah.
So if you've got a Mac, I'd highly recommend getting an external webcam, just because of the quality on a MacBook is just appalling.
The camera microphone definitely as well. We have the Yeti microphone.
Yeah, good quality.
I've got mine on the arm. I have my arm and I have my pop filter, and I think these were like £100 at the time. Yeah, they're a great microphone.
Yeah, fantastic, proper professional. Well, as professional as you need.
Yes.
For home recording microphone.
Yeah, that's right. And I do all my Google Voice calls. I just pull the arm round, and that's it. And I talk, and it's just over here on the right hand side out of shot, and that's it. And it works great. And I don't have to use my phone or anything to talk to all my customers when I use Google Voice. So yeah, the good quality microphone, spot on, James, with that one. Really important.
And then it's just down to your business, making sure that they provide you with the right software. So we'd naturally recommend you be using G Suite, just because it's going to allow you to work from anywhere without any issues. And that's why we've had no issues with our clients. We've seen lots of IT support companies boasting about how much work they've been doing to allow people to work from home. They've actually had to deploy systems and all that kind of stuff. We've not had to do any of that. Everyone's just picked up their machine or just gone home, logged into their home computer, and they've got access to everything in a secure manner as well.
That's right. I know that my previous place I used to work, having a chat with one of the guys there, non-stop deployment of remote access solutions for 3 weeks. It's all they're doing.
Which is appalling, because it should be built from the ground up. That it is about that's what we've done. It's always been about remote work from anywhere.
That's the classic company that takes anything though and doesn't have a structure, doesn't have a format. We look after any IT system that you've got IT company, which is just, you might as well just get the broom out and bend over. Because you're on a hide into nothing for that one.
Well, I think that's everything about conversation time then. It's a good way to end it. Let's go on to recommendations. So I'm going to recommend a podcast called Down the Hill, the Delphi Murders. So this is a really interesting true crime one. So it's in 2017 is when it took place. It's recent as well. It's not like the old ones where it's all like most murder podcasts are like 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
So it's only a few years ago. So there's modern technology involved in it. So the Delphi murders are the murders of two young girls. I think they're like 12 or something like that. And they'd gone. So in Delphi, there's a they have like hiking paths and things like that over old railway tracks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So these two girls got murdered. But what's interesting is they had Snapchat on their mobile phone.
Right.
On Snapchat, they actually recorded a video of the suspect.
Yeah.
They've recorded his voice, and they've still not been able to find the guy. So they've got video footage of him. They got video footage of the murders taking place. They got video footage of they got the sound, audio, and all this kind of stuff. But no one's been out. They've not been able to find the person. Now the video footage is very pixelated, so it's very difficult to make out the face of the person. But they've got all this information, all recorded by the girls because they knew something was up. So one of the girls was clever, got their phone out and started recording what was going on.
All right.
The police have limited the amount of footage they've released. It's only a 2-second clip that they've released of this guy walking across the bridge after them, and about a 2 or 3 second audio clip as well. And clearly they're holding stuff back because they don't want forced confessions and things like that taking place.
Yeah.
And you see, you're just checking it out now, copying and pasting that. So that is it's an interesting podcast to listen to.
Yeah, it sounds good. That does sound interesting. That Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Okay. I don't have a specific recommendation, although I am recommending that if anybody's you're at home and you're going a bit mental, try Netflix Party. Netflix Party, from the clue in the title, lets you watch Netflix shows together via a Chrome browser. So you need to use a laptop or a desktop for this. It has to be done through the Chrome browser.
This is an extension, isn't it?
Yes.
An official extension that essentially shares your login credentials with somebody else.
Well, it enables you to chat to each other and synchronizes you all watching the thing at the same time.
Okay.
So you can synchronize the movie and then you can chat through the movie. I mean, you could all just watch the movie and use WhatsApp, I suppose, but it's one of those things that might be fun to do with some friends and stuff like that. If you're going a bit bonkers, you can do your own commentary or whatever when you're watching a movie.
That'd drive me mad. I just want to watch it. I don't want to interact with other people while I'm watching something.
I used to do that years ago when I first used Twitter 10 years ago. It was good for that when you watched a TV show. Of course, now it's just a diatribe of now, so I don't bother with any of it.
Well, it's likewise, because I'm a big Formula One fan. Whenever I watch the races, I can't have Twitter open and all the other stuff at the same time because I lose concentration on the race, and I'll start reading commentary by the teams, or they might have they have an app where you can see the timing, the live timing as well at the same time. Yeah. I can't watch that at the same time as Formula One because I lose concentration on what's on the TV, and I'll look at that, so it doesn't work for me. So I just have one point of one source that I'm watching.
No, I agree with you now. When I watch something, you can't do the two at the same time. It's distracting. You can't. You're better off watching it. Yeah,
in fact, I put my mobile phone away in a completely different room, so I've got no chance of even looking at it when I'm watching Formula One.
That's dedicated to his Formula One. People are like that. You're all like that, Formula One heads. Like, you really take it seriously. Like, the Formula One's on. I'm up at 5 a.m. and you dare disturb me while this is on.
It's a fantastic sport. It's a bit boring at the moment, but it's a fantastic sport.
It's been more exciting, I must admit, than right now.
I've been watching the e-prees that they've been putting on instead now, which are very, very entertaining. So you've got a couple of Formula One drivers in there. You've got some esports stars and some other drivers and some retired drivers like Johnny Herbert and things like that. Okay. And it's really entertaining. This is one thing that's going to change massively. Esports is going to blow up big time because everyone who thought, it's esports, just watching some people play games, are actually now realizing it's quite good. It's quite good, entertaining, and betting companies are allowing you to bet on esport matches and things like that.
Can't see why it wouldn't be, because ultimately the thrill of the sport, who's going to win? Are they going to win? Are they not going to win?
That's what
you want out of sport.
some sports that naturally fit it, like snooker.
Yep.
Because snooker is just a mathematical game in the end, so a computer can really simulate that very easily. And there's literally no reason to have two people in the same room playing snooker. You could just have them both playing a virtual game of snooker, and it'd be exactly the same. There's literally no difference there at all.
Well, we shall see.
Likewise with, I imagine, darts as well.
Yeah, the darts has got a room full of people getting hammered on beer. Don't forget.
Yeah, but you can do that at home, and then you don't need to travel back.
No, you've never been the dart. Well, you've not been the darts and drank at the darts because you're not going to do that.
Yeah. So there are definitely sports though that it works with. Well, yes. And snooker was the first one that popped to my head. And I reckon this would be the biggest sporting event. So the Olympics, they're talking about. Well, PlayStation, there used to be a game called Track and Field where you had to button mash as hard as you can. Do that, everyone would watch that. You're watching athletes button mashing to win a race and stuff like that. And then the other one I thought would be great is Wimbledon. Wimbledon is just a ball bouncing side to side. What you do is get Federer and someone else who's a famous, I don't know anything about tennis players. Yeah, playing pong. Playing pong and people bet on it. That would blow up. You put that on YouTube and you get millions and millions and millions of views.
That probably would get people watch it, but
the advertising revenue would be incredible.
I'd quite like to see international track and field events with Konami's 1984 arcade game Track and Field. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, button mashing the whole way.
Button mashing.
Yeah,
there's tricks to end than button mashing.
There's tricks to do button mashing. You got the old put your jumper on your finger and slide it backwards and forwards as quickly as you can. But the problem with that is it built friction, burnt your finger.
No, you got to hit them.
No, it's about sliding. That's the technique. Holding the joypad in a certain way and sliding quickly between them. It's the only way you're going to win.
On the arcade,
you never win.
You cheat with like a cricket ball and then move the cricket ball back and forwards.
Oh, well, that's the same thing as doing it on a controller. A controller's just smaller, isn't it? It's just moving your thumb backwards and forwards as quickly as you can.
Yeah. There was a version for that on the Spectrum called Daley Thompson's Decathlon. It was basically that game, and it broke so many people's Kempston joysticks and keyboards. It destroyed hundreds and hundreds of thousands of joysticks.
Well, I remember back in the 90s when I got my first PlayStation, me and friends would come round and we'd play Track and Field, and we broke PlayStation controllers on that game.
Yep, the micro switches were not up to the job of being mashed.
We mainly didn't break it because of the button mashing. We broke it out of anger for losing.
What, hoying the controller around?
Yeah, trying the controllers. It gets very good. Track and Field got uber competitive, especially when one person's worked out a technique and they keep bloody winning all the time and you just can't recreate it. It gets incredibly frustrating. So, yeah,
you're competitive, that's why.
We got some controllers got smashed.
Okay, I see. I understand.
And that's probably the only time we've ever had proper falling outs over Track and Field.
Yeah, right. I'm not playing against you on games then.
That's all right. I'm not into it as much as I used to be.
No, you're still competitive. So if you did get into it, I could see where it'd go.
Yeah. To be fair, I was trying to beat your 4K time this morning.
Where?
Yeah. So I was about a minute and a half slower. But I figured I can't actually ever beat you on a elliptical cross trainer because it's essentially jogging. Really? I can't run. I can't sprint on it, so I can't beat you. But to be fair, you're taking half an hour to do 4 kilometers running.
Yes.
I'm taking half an hour to do 4 kilometers jogging. So
yeah, but you've got no elevation. I have elevation in mine.
I am. I'm doing I've got hill simulation taking place.
Good for you.
It's magnetic, so it tightens up and loosens and tightens up and loosens.
Well, it's working, James, because I've lost a stone in weight, according to the scales this morning.
That's good.
I'm 12 stone now. I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah.
I want to get to 11, so
I'm going to go now anyway.
Yeah, that's the big box.
That's my thing to say go. So thank you for listening to the podcast, and hopefully you'll be around in 2 weeks' time for the next one.
Yep. Nothing like a podcast.
See you later. Bye-bye.